Hello, everyone. It's Kellen here, and I'm joined with Gary. He's our project manager. And hi, Gary.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great here in La Jolla
Good.
today. So,
Oh, yeah, La Jolla. Nice, nice. Still haven't been down to that office yet. I want to get down there.
yeah, no, you've got it. It's wonderful. Right in the heart of Bird Rock. So,
Ah,
good
beauty,
place.
beauty. Well, great. As you guys can see, this one is about the general contractor's responsibilities. The office hours is really just like a quick video discussion we have with someone on our team about something that's happening in the process. And it's really just a way to help you, the homeowner or developer or someone, get more information about what we're doing, how this whole process works. Ideally, we're alleviating a lot of the headaches involved with the whole building process, and trying to remove a bunch of the thousands of decisions that have to go through your head about what to build. We do that with our standardized homes, and standardizing some of the floor plans and how the whole entire home is built. And we're actually trying to go that way with the whole project as well, as far as like what the general contractor does, what Dvele does. So Gary, he's going to go through that. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes because we just hit go live. We're going to let some people filter in, and then we'll kick it off. But thanks again for joining us, Gary.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to talking about our site process. It's pretty exciting what we do, and it's a big part of our process.
Yeah, it is. It is obviously. I mean, like there's so much of the work that happens at the site I think people aren't aware of. Either like you're fully involved with it because you're doing an infill and you're tearing down a house and you're aware, or maybe some people have bought a brand new home in a new development, but there's a decent amount of work that goes into the project at the site.
Yeah, and we'll kind of lay out how we help simplify that and front load the activities so that we're really minimizing the amount of work that takes place after the modules arrive.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Working
whole idea. Like you said, simplify it, expedite it, make this whole process super efficient, and then this way people are getting into their homes quickly. Um, you know, Less issues at the site and anything happening after you've moved in. So I think your team and whoever we've hired to do the work so far has been phenomenal, because we just had that one open house in Santa Rosa, California, up in Sonoma County, and that was beautiful. That was on a beautiful lot.
Mhm.
If we just keep getting better and better at this stuff, I think a lot of people are going to be really happy.
Yeah, and we've totally dialed in our site process, so we know exactly what needs to happen when and how to alleviate those headaches to really, like we said, simplify the complexity that it can be and
Yeah.
making it easy for the homeowner.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, because no one wants to think about building a home for, 2, 3, 4 years. You want to be in and out as fast as you can. Hopefully, eventually, buying a home and building one is as quick as like getting a car. You can
Exactly.
do a down payment, choose your colors, choose your options, and then here you go. You're out the door.
And boom, boom.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, hello everyone. If you're just joining, I'm Kellen, and this is Gary. He's our one of our senior most project managers, and we're going to go through the general contractor's responsibilities. Um, we've said that in a couple of emails already, but just wanted to make sure you're really clear about that. We're going to be outlining what we do versus what a general contractor does, just so you're really aware of what's happening when you hire a general contractor, and then this way what they're taking care of, what maybe you need to do, what we're doing, and then this way the whole process is really, really smooth. On your screen, I think it's on the left side or the right side of your screen, sorry, there's a little chat icon. You can always put questions in there, and we'll try to answer the questions during the presentation, but we're going to try to hold questions until the end, just so that we can just get out the information, tell you as much as we can, and then we can go through it and all learn together. And then this way, we're not talking too much specifically about your project. If you want to talk about your project, just email us hello@dvele.com, and it'll come directly to myself or Ashley, who's our director of sales. So Curtis, you're asking about the asking prices. We've just updated all of our prices on the catalog page. So when you go to the catalog page, which is catalog.dvele.com, above the name of the model of the home, there's a little blue line that says the starting price. And so all of the prices are up there now, and that price includes the construction, the production of the home. So everything that's included with the floors, the drywall, the paint, the finishes, the plumbing, everything. The home arrives about 95% complete, maybe more, maybe like 98% complete roughly. And then Gary's actually going to talk a little bit about that stitching together process of where, the two modules meet and what that whole looks like. The price in Santa Rosa, yeah. So that house sold for 2.2 million. That included the price of the land as well, and everything that went into it, the garage, the landscaping. But that home that was in Santa Rosa was the Shaughnessy model. The Shaughnessy is our largest one. It's 4 bedroom, 3.5 bath, maybe, or 4.5 bath, I forget. But that's 3,900 square feet. That's our largest module. I think there's about 7 modules in it, and that price starts at about 1.1 million for the Shaughnessy. Okay, so everyone's notified. We have a bunch of people here. Just to jog everyone's memory, you have a chat window on the right side of your screen. So if you want to ask some questions, you can, but we'll try to hold specific questions until the end. Okay, so we're going to kick this off. Thank you. It was impressive, Curtis. It was a really beautiful home, really well done. One of our best yet, like spec homes, model homes done to date. We can't wait to do more of them. So as soon as we buy land and put up another spec home, everyone will know about it, and we'll make sure we get everyone there to see it. So office hours, general contractors' responsibilities, really important stuff. We've simplified it as much as we can, and we're going to take this into 3 steps. So preparing your site, everything that happens before the module arrives, or even anything really leading up to it, and then before the module arrives, exactly before it arrives, and then just after the module arrives. This entire process can take roughly 6 months to a year. It really depends on permitting and how fast you can get a general contractor to do the work at your site. But generally, these steps are happening, concurrently, one right after the other. There's not much lag time in between, and also what's happening at the site is simultaneously with your home being produced in the factory. So Gary is one of our hosts today, and he's one of our senior project managers. Before he was a project manager, he was actually our site superintendent. So he was going to the site, doing some quality assurance and making sure everything was working and everything was where it needed to be before we delivered the modules, because obviously that's very crucial. The foundation needs to be specifically built in the right dimensions in the right areas so the modules fit on top correctly. So he has a very big understanding about what we do. And then myself, I'm Kellen. Hello, I'm the Director of Growth. Some of you might be a familiar face. If not, hello, this is the first time we're meeting. So Gary, 2 years at the company now. That's impressive. Good job.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And you're actually working on some of our biggest developments. He's working on 2 different developments that are going to be producing over 100 different modules. One of them you guys might know about is up in Truckee, California. There are a bunch of single modules that are going to be on this large development. That some of them are, I think, eventually going to be sold. A bunch of them are for rent if you want to go have a quick vacation up in Truckee, California. That's a really cool site. And then another one that he's working on is a home of 25, 27 homes.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah, and then all the modules included in each of those homes is going to roughly equal over 100 modules. So Gary knows his stuff. And in fact, he's even working on a prototype development, which might become a more common development that we do, are these micro communities where we have a bunch of developed homes on a single property that are able to share energy and produce energy for themselves and essentially create a microgrid. So that's going to be really cool. So Gary's the man to talk to about general contractors and what's going on at the site. So yeah, other than that, I'll just let you take it away.
All right. Well, thanks for the intro, Kellen. Yeah, it's been an awesome time at Dvele It's really exciting what we're doing in the factory and on site. So basically, right when you all sign on, we'll get into the process of submitting local and factory permits for local site activity and then activity in the factory. And once we start manufacturing around this time, preparation will begin on the site. They'll be excavating for the foundations, grading for the foundations, as well as site concrete and landscape features, and working with the local municipalities to set up utilities and bring them to your site and to your home.
What is excavation look like if the house is on like a big slope or decline? Is that like relatively the same, or like how does that vary from one project to another?
Yeah, so there will be significantly more excavation and grading on certain sites compared to others. The Santa Rosa job is a great example. The Shelter Glen project, we had large rocks in the soil and a large sweeping driveway that needed to be excavated and graded. So something like that will be more rigorous compared to a flat, simple site where you're just excavating for the foundation and maybe some grading for the driveway.
Yeah, okay, cool. So just a note there, everyone, if you're looking at a property that has a slope or an incline decline to it, and you're not sure about whether or not we can build there, one of the first things we tell everyone to do is just give us your address. Tell us which home you're thinking about building there, and then we'll do a quick assessment, a land feasibility study, essentially, with one of our other project managers, Sam, who actually went to school for zoning and for all this other types of stuff to actually have a really good idea about which homes can fit on which properties. So we'll give you a good idea up front about what home can go where and what the constraints are going to be. Okay, so that's really cool. And so the general contractor, they themselves or like subcontractors, they're typically doing this, like excavating, the grading.
Yeah.
Right.
So they'll be doing all that work on site. They'll be facilitating that. We obviously take care of the process in the factory.
Yeah.
And this allows us to do both concurrently, right? Where we're essentially framing the home while the foundation's being excavated, which gives us a big leg up in terms of schedule compared to traditional builders.
Right. And so like, say something unforeseen comes up, like you find a big rock or, there's more grading that's needed. Does it like completely stop the project, or does like anything stop in the factory, or do we just kind of try to keep going, or what happens?
Yeah, nothing should stop. It's more of a matter of the general contractor facilitating the necessary equipment to, say, excavate that large rock. But that equipment's readily available and may just be a quick equipment rental facilitating that process and getting that unforeseen condition out of the way.
Nicole, just to answer your question really quick, we can talk more about the feasibility study on email, but there's no cost up front. We're not doing anything in depth. So you'll want to have a topographic survey done on your own, any type of soil reports done on your own, some sort of engineering reports. And then you also want to give us that data along with the address, along with any pictures that might be needed. If Google Earth hasn't been around your property, you'd want to give us as much of that information as possible. And then we're just going to do a really quick pan of the surveys, the studies, and then just to figure out, if a modular home like ours is feasible to drive there safely, but then also like build on site. So we're not doing anything in depth. We're not doing like a deep survey on our own. We need that information from you. Okay, so next step is before the modules arrive. What does that look like?
So once your foundation's excavated and graded, we work with the general contractor or the general contractor's function essentially is pouring the foundations. And for us, that's just going to involve a footing. So we're really reducing the amount of concrete that's required, where typically you'll require a stem wall to support the home. We actually produce that stem wall, which connects directly to the modules in our factory. So we'll be producing those on the what we call light gauge steel LGS production line. And we'll be printing those panels and sending them to site And this allows us to have a really high degree of precision where these stem walls align directly with our modules and are in the model. So it's down to the tenth of an inch in terms of their precision.
So like, so the foundation stem wall. Remind me again, what is a stem wall?
So that's the vertical portion of the foundation that connects to the footing. So the footing will still be concrete, and that's embedded into the ground. And those just need to be very flat so that we can basically bring our stem wall, which is just typically 3'6" or 3-foot wall that connects down to that foundation and provides the vertical component of that foundation, which we connect to with the modules. And that vertical component of the foundation creates our crawl space once the modules are set in place.
Okay, and obviously that's then what the module sits on, is the stem wall.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Cool. That's easy. That's really nice. So it's really cool that we're going to light gauge steel for all the stem walls now. Why do we go that way instead of just using concrete?
So, like I said, it gives us total control over the precision of the foundation, where we're going to have perfect alignment between the foundation and our modules, which is really important for structural connection. As you can imagine, when these modules get set into place, it needs to be exact.
Yeah.
And it's also, we recently did a green analysis, and there's significant CO2 savings from going to the LGS foundation. Unfortunately, concrete isn't the most green material, and we're really able to have substantial CO2 savings with the LGS model.
Yeah, the light gauge steel model. Yeah, that is really helpful. I mean, we get to control it, and then it's precise, and then, like you said, it's just saving tons of energy
and cost savings as well. So
and cost savings. There you go.
Multifaceted solution.
Yeah. Just to answer a quick question from Rich here, how tall is the resulting crawl space? I'm assuming all of our crawl spaces are about the same height.
Yeah, so we have some variants where we've reduced it on certain models, but typically it's 3 feet.
Yeah, okay. Great. And then because we do that, obviously want to set the modules on, but that's also where we're running all of like the mechanical and plumbing under as well. And
yeah, we make all of we'll have second story connections as well, if that's the case, that we have 2 stories, but beyond that, everything happens below the modules.
Got it. Cool. Just to answer your question quickly, Judith, about Dvele's not having contractors in your area. We typically don't have contractors. It's a matter of you finding a general contractor, and then we're working with them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. We're working with that general contractor that you find to help.
We'll help in the feasibility or the general contractor sourcing process.
Sure.
To find somebody who is a modular expert and has experience. So we've been able to find partners in Utah and Idaho. So we can help. And if you have a personal contact, we can work with them as well. It's just a matter of somebody who has modular experience and is comfortable working with our product.
Yeah. We don't have that list just yet of partners. We're actually in the process of building it because obviously it's a critical step. But once you're into the stage of, us giving you a quote, we know we can build a home and deliver a home to you, we will start doing that early analysis, exploration of if there is a contractor or partner in your area. Okay. So the next step, after the modules have arrived, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is the exciting part. I don't know if you've seen any, and I know Kellen, you have, but if the audience has seen the process of us craning these modules into place, it's pretty incredible process, and you're all invited on set day to come check it out. Once these are set into place on our foundations, we work with a subcontractor who will structurally connect those modules to the foundation and to each other. And once that happens, we'll also have the weatherproofing process that happens on site before we leave to make sure that everything's weather tight. And once that envelope is sealed, so we can either perform those MEP connections, or the general contractor can. It's on a case by case basis. We have several specialized systems, including our ERV and our heating and cooling systems that are unique to, or not unique, but just a high performance product that we're used to working with. So that can be either performed by us or the general contractor. But once that envelope is sealed, we'll make those connections, the general contractor or us, between the modules into the utility. And the general contractor will also finish the exterior siding systems,
Okay.
and basically the finishes of the home. And in addition to that, do the landscaping and site concrete scope of work.
Okay, cool. So then, like, once the modules have been delivered, crane them in site, they're really like finishing the home all themselves, inside and out, taking care of it.
Yeah. And I guess just to simplify it, Dvele can perform the specialized Dvele portions of work on a cost basis,
Yeah.
just for the MEP connections, and then the weatherproofing system as well.
Okay.
But that can also be performed by the general contractor with us as a consultant.
Okay. Got it. So, like, obviously we're building the homes and we're delivering them, but otherwise, like, the general contractor has like a lot of work up front to do with like preparing the site and grading it and the foundation. And then they're basically, not to oversimplify it, but they're basically just waiting then for the modules to arrive and then to finish connecting them.
Yeah, and to finish and connect the systems that are already in place. It's basically for the finishes, it will just be at the marriage lines, and then simple connections between the modules themselves and to the public utilities.
Got it. Okay. And then, so once they finish all of that, there's basically just like a certificate of occupancy, and then they move in, right?
Yeah, essentially some testing we do to get
Yep.
our high performance numbers, and then basically, yeah, just a certificate of occupancy and a handoff.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, that's really simple. I mean, thank you for laying that out for us.
Yeah, of course.
That was really helpful. So yeah, so if anyone else has any more questions, feel free to jump in now. I see a couple here. One's from Mark. He says, is the depth of the footing adjusted for colder areas, resulting in higher LGS foundation?
I don't think that will affect the height of the LGS foundations if there is increased footing depth for either structural or frost layer reasons. That will just affect the depth of the footing itself. It won't affect it will go lower rather than higher.
Right. Okay. Great.
Not affecting the height of the building.
Yeah. Okay. Dana, you're asking about the general additional cost for contractor work in addition to buying the home. So that's really hard to pinpoint. Generally, we say an entire project, once it's finished, has a ballpark range of about $500 to $650 a square foot. We control our costs, and they're relatively always the same. We deliver on time for the same amount, but what we can't control is how much a general contractor and their sub trades charge for excavation and foundations. So one thing that we're doing to try to lower the cost is the walls. What Gary was saying, the walls of the foundation are now going to be provided by us. They're going to be like H steel. So it's just one more thing to reduce a fluctuation of a cost for, but generally the cost is between $500 and $650 when it all said and done. But it really depends on the size of the home, where you're building, and like I said, what the general contractor charges. You have anything else to add for that, Gary?
No, I think that sounds pretty accurate, and yeah, it depends on the area you're building in, of course, too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like we said in the beginning, if you're building on like a steep incline or decline, there's just inevitably going to be more work for grading and building the foundation. And that's just the way it is. So like ideally, the flatter the land, the better. So that's one of the best ways to save money, truly, is just try to get a flat piece of land. Mary Ellen's asking about, I saw you, Dvele recently purchased Blue Homes. Does that mean Dvele is available in Washington? Yeah, so just so everyone knows, our homes are built to the same specifications with the same materials all the time. It's this idea of standardizing the home. So everyone's getting a top quality, high performing home. So our homes can go anywhere, but we're always going to be delivering, currently, we're going to be delivering from our factory in Loma Linda. So the further away it is, there is inevitably going to be an increased cost to delivering per module, but it doesn't mean we can't. It just, there might be some, more cost towards delivering versus the cost savings you get from a prefabricated home like ours. So we're actually talking to people in Washington right now, and we're proposing to deliver up some homes up there. So delivering and producing a home for Washington is not a problem at all. Andreas is asking about, do you work with containers or other temporary structures? Do you want to take that, Gary?
Yeah, so we don't use any non-Dvele produced structure unless, I mean, it's an awning or something that's an addition to the module. I don't know if that's asking about like a shipping container type of unit, but we wouldn't do that, and because all of our units are just very high performing, and we just have a standard of excellence with the expectation of performance for our homes.
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to bring as much as we can in-house. So we print the steel ourselves, we form it, we build the structure ourselves. So eventually, we're trying to bring everything in-house just to control that product and have a high degree of excellence, like Gary is saying. So no, we don't work with containers or other temporary structures. Patrick's asking, so are we delivering our own designs or basically reselling Blue Home? So some of the Blue Homes are going to be deprecated. They were already very similar to what we were doing before. We just have a slightly different manufacturing method. One of their popular designs is the Breeze House. So the Breeze House is nearly identical to our White Cliff. So if you're on our catalog page, it's a single story module. It's one of the larger ones. It's at the bottom of the page, and the White Cliff is the most popular compared to like the Breeze House. But we're only using our designs right now because it's just the way that we're manufacturing. We have the factory set up to build those modules, and we're able to control that entire process. And feel free to jump in, Gary, but we're standardizing these designs as much as possible and the modules within them to lower costs, to lower material waste, and to speed up the time to build.
Yeah, it looks like the White Cliff is pretty identical to the Breeze House. Just looking at the website, and I know we're building a Breeze House right now that's going to Santa Rosa, and that, to my knowledge, is essentially the same as the White Cliff model. So if you are looking at a Breeze House, the White Cliff is essentially the same.
Yeah, exactly. I think you might get one more bedroom, or the bedroom's moved, and the mechanical room, which we call the vitality room, is just slightly bigger, but it's
Yeah,
identical. Yeah.
yeah. So all of our homes are Dvele design, and we have a standardized vitality room with standardized MEP systems and structural systems. So
Yeah.
so none of them are just Blue Home reselling Blue Home design. They're all Dvele.
Got it. One question here we have it's a good one, and one I've asked myself is, so when we're building these stem walls, Rich is asking, are stem walls and structures ever tall enough to create a basement or daylight basement if on a slope, instead of just like a structural crawl space?
Yeah, and I think they're just structural crawl spaces. It wouldn't be a daylight basement because we
Yeah.
have our stem walls, and they're not designed for any window protrusions or anything else of the sort. They're just standardized structural elements.
Yeah, and as far as I know, when I've just talked to the senior members of the team too, like creating that foundation or the stem wall to be large enough to create a basement probably won't happen in the near future, just because we have a very specific volume within the home that we're monitoring and we're building the home's like mechanical systems for, to keep it as energy efficient as it is, to make it easily cooled and heated. So adding a basement adds a huge volume below, grade that is not always easy to heat and cool or adjust for. Another question about, I want to activate a temporary event space with structures that are temporary, so any structure that can be removed easily. Yes. So yeah, Andres, we have 10 already pre-made units available. They're mini homes. They're the Pine model. You can see them on our website at minihomes.dvele.com. I'll just put that in the chat. And you could buy one of those, and then you could use it as an event space and bring it to an area and run a pop-up shop with it. It's built on top of a trailer. So actually, Gary, you would know a lot about this. You're running that show. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a bit about those modules and like how you transport them and what that looks like?
Yeah, so they're essentially designated as an RV, but it's definitely doesn't look like an RV. It's a high performance mini home, and they're on a chassis, and they stay on a chassis, and that chassis is connected to the wheels that it ships on. And when it gets to site, you can imagine the unit just arrives on site. You block it up with either CMU or other temporary or removable structure, and you can remove the wheels, put skirting around it, and then you would never know it's a movable unit. But you could still reattach the axles and ship it off to a different site.
Okay, so like it's relatively simple to like bring to one space, whether it's an event space or like a cottage area, and then reconfigure it to then like bring it somewhere else.
Yeah, so you would put it on a foundation, prop it up on either CMU blocks or another temporary foundation, connect it to utilities, and then put skirting on it or not. And then if you wanted to move it again, you just have to disconnect the utilities, reattach axles, and then remove the foundation.
Got it. Okay. So there's a bit of work involved.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Patrick, your question about still using Blue Homes Factory. I don't think we are. We don't necessarily need to. We're automating a lot of the process. We're about to start using robots in our manufacturing line. So we're going to be able to increase the capacity quite a bit. Out of our factory now in Loma Linda, we're able to produce about 200 modules a year. And in the next one that we're building, which looks like we'll be in Butte, Montana, that'll turn into like 2,000 modules a year. It'll be a bigger facility, but it'll be much more advanced. So being able to produce homes quickly won't be an issue, if that's what you're asking about. Dana, as you're asking about the web address for the catalog, I put it in the chat there. It's just catalog.dvele.com. That's where you can see all of our homes. As we update models and add new ones, everything will always be on the catalog page. Patrick, you're also asking about it. So if building on a slope, do you just require that the poured footings get increasingly taller in order to have a level house using your existing 3-foot stem wall?
So yeah, you would typically just grade the site and create a even stem wall around the site. And if that's not possible, then yeah, you would have to have a stepped footing with stepped stem walls. As the footing went down grade. But Shelter Glen, for example, that's a flat footing with flat stem walls.
Yeah. And then like when would you use a retaining wall? Does that help when there's a slope involved?
Yeah, so one of our homes that's going up in Utah has a large retaining wall on the outside, and that's basically it's a two-story home, and that's just placed on the outside of the second story. So you're basically placing that retaining wall, and then you have the wall of the module on the inside of that.
Got it. Got it. Jordan's asking about our mini homes. Do we have black or gray water tank systems?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any black or gray water tanks. We just have our two small water heater tanks.
Yeah, it does. I think black and gray water refers to like recycled water.
Yeah, I don't think we have
Ye-
specific systems for that.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that right now. But I mean, is it feasible to add on to the house? Do you think?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we haven't dealt with that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can get back to you on that one, Jordan. If you just send us an email with that same question, hello@dvele.com, we can follow up and see what kind of process would need to happen to our homes to include a gray or black water system. Okay, well, if that's about it, I think I'll just wrap it up there. Just nice, short and sweet, simple one. So thanks again, Gary. Really appreciate you outlining what the general contractors are doing. If anyone else has any questions about the general contractors, just send them to us, and we can also include Gary on the email, and we'll try to answer any other questions you have. But if you can, just send your emails to hello@dvele.com. And with that, I think I'll just say goodbye and thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Gary. And if you're watching, we'll be sending out a recording, so you can watch this again. You can send it to friends and family or anyone else that you think needs to watch this. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. So thank you. We'll be sending out a recording, and you'll get that as well shortly. Thank you. And take care. Bye, Gary.
Thank you, Kellen, and thank you everybody for tuning in.